up for Crown Jewel?
Yeah, hit me because I don't really know most of it.
Okay, so let's start off Crown Jewel 2023. We talked about this last week. The big main event is Roman Reigns versus LA Knight. I think everyone kind of
Yeah.
believes that Roman Reigns is going to win this match. But can they do it in a way where LA Knight is screwed out of the title, but it's done in a way not similar to any of
Yeah.
the half dozen other times that top baby faces have been screwed out of the title by Roman Reigns? Like,
Yeah.
you know, Drew
Yeah. LA Knight.
McIntyre, Sami Zayn, they've all been screwed over by Roman. So how do you make it special when LA Knight gets screwed over by Roman?
I don't know. See, if Vince was in charge right now, I'd be like, they are going to destroy the character of LA Knight in this match
Yeah, yeah,
because Vince hates that the fans got him over and the
yeah,
company didn't. But it's Triple H, and he tends to listen to the fans a lot more, and that's why LA Knight has ascended to the position that he's in.
yeah. That's
So
why that's why I'm wondering if it was Vince's plan to have Roman squash LA Knight, but then as we get closer to Crown Jewel, Ari Emanuel reads sensitive information about Vince McMahon. I was like, oh, he can't. We got to
yeah,
get him
no,
out of there. Triple H is back in control, and maybe like yeah, like so. I
yeah,
think it might be a case of like one guy booked the match, but the other guy's going to come up to the
yeah.
for the finish to the match. So what do you do? Like you could
You
have
can,
LA Knight get screwed over, but that's what you always do. That's every single Roman Reigns match, but I don't see any other option for them here.
yeah, and the conspiracy set option says that throughout these Saudi shows, the prince has had quite a say in who wrestles who.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the prince really wanted to see this, but
That's possible.
and they're just like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but it's I don't know. Yeah, it's been a long time since there's been a title match this least likely to have a title change.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. I guess Sammy was the last one.
What, where people really
In
believe that he could
in
win?
the
No, Cody.
same.
Cody was
No,
the last one at WrestleMania.
I mean, and like the babyface got screwed over because of X, Y, and Z or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Cody
I'm
got
trying to.
screwed over by
Yeah.
Solo
Okay.
Sikoa at WrestleMania.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then Jey Uso got screwed
Yeah.
over by Jimmy Uso at SummerSlam. Like,
I mean, they could. It could be as simple as just like someone gets disqualified, and then
well,
they Teddy Long it and make him a tag match.
somebody else brought that up. Like you could have LA Knight win by DQ. And then that really keeps his momentum up because now all of a sudden you have done something unique with LA Knight. Like all of these other people, they lost to Roman. They lost
Yeah.
via underhanded tactics, but LA Knight actually got a victory, so you can keep the story going. That's one possible option. I mean, we
Yeah.
could
I
see
mean that, and it does protect them both, which is important to make.
Mhm.
Mike, the problem is that at that point, does it become more about officiating, and are people willing to accept that? I mean, there was a time in wrestling where if they fought to a 20-minute draw and there was no winner, everyone was like, "Oh, shucks. Well, I'll come back next time," and
Yeah.
like it wasn't it was more common. Now seeing an actual DQ finish at the end of the main event of what has become a pay-per-view event, like a premium
Mhm.
live event, um,
Yeah, it would seem a little
and a big
screwy.
one. Well,
Yeah.
it seemed like awkwardly unclimactic, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like it is the kind of thing that people would boo heavily, but like if you do the right angle after, then fans are thinking more about
Yeah.
the angle than the actual result of the match. So if you had LA Knight win by DQ and then it was Jey Uso came out and prevented the bloodline from doing something
Yeah.
dastardly leading to the DQ, and then Cody comes out, some returning baby face comes in, so you could do it, but I just don't think you can go in there and do the exact same thing you've done with Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens. Like you've got to have some variety in your finishes here, especially if this title reign is going to last, years.
Yeah,
So
well, years more than it already has. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
So,
and that is a danger with what's happening with Roman now, is that there comes a point where it's like, anybody gonna actually beat this guy? Like,
yeah.
I
Well, I
don't
think.
really, and nobody is gonna seem big enough after a while
Mhm.
to be the one that takes that title. Like, the days of Bruno Sammartino 10-15 year runs with the belt,
Mhm.
I don't think you can do that in today's markets. And eventually Roman's going to have to lose that title. And I feel like they've gotten close with a couple of guys, but I still don't think we've seen the one.
Well, okay, so I've spent more time than I care to admit trying to figure out who is going to beat Roman and when it's going to happen. There are a few possibilities. Well, one thing is if The Rock comes back, I don't think The Rock beats Roman. Roman still
No.
beats The Rock, right?
Yeah.
I think the guy that beats Roman is Cody, but I don't know when it's going to happen. It will happen at a WrestleMania, but I don't necessarily know that it's happening at the next WrestleMania. In fact, I don't even know if it's happening at the next WrestleMania that Cody wrestles Roman. Like, I almost wonder if the story that they want to tell with Cody Rhodes is that this is a guy who, no matter how many times he loses, how many times he gets beaten up, he's got the perseverance and the passion and the dig down deep within itness to get up and continue fighting every time. And I almost wonder if you could have him lose to Roman 3-4 times in a row, almost to the point where the fans believe it's never going to happen, and that's when he finally beats him.
You know what that sounds very similar to?
What's that?
A certain storyline in a certain NXT
Mm-hmm.
with a certain Sami Zayn
Oh yeah.
and a certain Neville,
Mm-hmm.
run by a certain Triple H, who is now
Hey, there you
running
go.
a certain WWE.
Yeah. I just think it
But
tells a
that's
great
interesting.
story.
Yeah, well, and I love that. We loved Sami Zayn in
Mm-hmm.
NXT because he was the guy that couldn't win the big one. Remember? That was the whole thing
Yeah.
leading into the fight with Neville. And it was incredible. And then you couple that with the amazing debut of Kevin Owens. Oh, what a night for wrestling.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's a compelling story. And if you can draw that out over multiple years,
Yeah.
yes.
Like the story
do it.
doesn't have to end at WrestleMania. The story can be a career long story. And I think that's what they're doing with Cody Rhodes. It's the story of his career. It's the story of him coming into WWE, not being given the opportunity to rise to the main event, to leaving, to creating a star, to making his star power undeniable,